Welcome to the Configure Price Quote podcast. My name is Frank Sohn and I'm the founder of No CPQ Consulting. This podcast is 100% focused on Configure Price Quote, also known as CPQ, and will provide you useful insights into this topic. Today, my guest is Nathan Shinn, co-founder and CSO at BillingPlatform. BillingPlatform is a billing and revenue management solution provider that also offers a CPQ and revenue recognition solution. Nathan has over 20 years of business experience and lives with his family in Fort Collins, Colorado. Welcome, Nathan, to the CPQ podcast.
Well, thank you, Frank. Glad to be here.
Very excited to have you. It doesn't happen very often that I have people from Fort Collins, so it's always exciting when I have someone. But let's start maybe by telling our listeners a little bit more about yourself and what you did before you founded BillingPlatform.
Yeah, well, before BillingPlatform, I was a software engineer. Still am at heart. But this is where my co-founder and I met, is in high volume billing, software engineering, building big systems for telecommunications companies, very complex billing, very high volumes.
And why did you decide to build that? So if you had a good and interesting job, why did you decide to do something much more risky than building a startup?
Oh, well, I think part of it could be just sheer stupidity. The other part is we wanted to bring something special to what we knew and loved in high volume billing. So it might sound pretty boring at the onset, billing. Nobody likes getting bills, et cetera. But really, if you get into billing, you start to realize that there is a whole lot going on under the covers in this entire economy and infrastructure, et cetera. And there's so many different ways people are making money. And that's a really interesting aspect of billing itself. But what we wanted to bring particularly to high volume billing was the notion that it can be configurable and that it can adapt to a number of different models in the same system. So that's what we rolled out with, bootstrapped, and this is the stupidity part, bootstrapped enterprise-grade, high-volume billing system with two guys in the company. And we rolled out with that. We did our own cold calling. We found ourselves in big deals. I mean, really big deals with companies like Oracle and SAP and our little two company in the same RFP, and actually winning deals because of the nature of this approach to billing that made it very flexible. And if you think about it, flexibility in billing means flexibility in the way that you offer products, the types of products that you sell, and the way that you offer them for sale.
No, I mean, that sounds like a lot of work potentially, right? So, but I think you didn't even have enough, so you even added CPQ to it a little while ago, right? So tell us a little bit more about that. So you got bored with billing and had to add CPQ?
Well, I'll just tell you right now, we are more of a revenue management system now than our name sort of suggests. More than a billing platform, we're a revenue management platform. So we offer, of course, our core billing, rating, and invoicing, mediation for high volume usage, ingestion, CPQ, of course. We have dunning and collections. We have revenue recognition, which is a really hot item now. But yeah, CPQ seemed to be a natural fit. We really kind of respond to customer demands and what we get our customers asking for or potential prospects asking for in deals. CPQ fits right in with billing, surprisingly enough, because where billing is on the back end of things, it really relates to how you sell things, as I mentioned before. And so having great advanced ways of configuring your pricing models, et cetera, and selling and billing and rating products lends itself well, of course, to CPQ because that's on the front end of things. So if you're tying your CPQ to billing, you're really spot on with how you're monetizing your business offering.
And since this is the CPQ podcast, I have to ask you, what's the most exciting part about CPQ for you at this time?
Well, what's really exciting about CPQ when you combine it with BillingPlatform and our approach is that you get a very flexible rating capability out of CPQ. So the way that our platform is built, and why we call it a platform, is that it's on top of a metadata layer. And if that gets too techie, stop me. But essentially what it means is that you have complete access to the underlying data model, which is the core, the heartbeat of any business information system. So because of that, you can develop any types of rules governing your CPQ, any type of rating function, and support for all kinds of different things. So it's actually a lot better at coming up with a quote for a really complex offering, because we support things like tiered pricing natively out of the box, or a formula-based rate natively out of the box, or packaging, et cetera. So all of those things aren't an afterthought now. If you're on BillingPlatform and using BillingPlatform CPQ, they're part of the beginning of the process, right? So you are completely closing the loop with billing, and you don't have any surprises. So you don't have your sales team coming up with great ways of selling things, and then all of a sudden you can't monetize those things in your billing system. So there's no disconnect.
Excellent. We talk a little bit more about that in a minute. One thing I want to ask you that I ask every guest on the CPQ podcast is, what do you like to do when you don't work, Nathan?
Well, when I'm not working, I'm really kind of a little bit more on the cerebral side. I really enjoy art, music, architecture, playing with my dogs.
Oh, that's very interesting. What kind of dogs do you have?
I have little itty bitty dogs. I mean, they're like about 4 inches from the ground to the shoulder. But one of them is blind and has a completely deformed leg. But he's highly playful. I mean, he loves to play games, and the other one is of course responsible for our safety. She's the police of the house.
Excellent. Yeah, I bet that keeps you busy also. Then let's talk a little bit about BillingPlatform. You already mentioned billing, CPQ, revenue recognition, but you also have mediation and a portal. Tell us a little bit more about that, please.
Right. So mediation speaks to high volume billing rating. And the great thing about BillingPlatform, of course, aligning with this theme of configurability, is that we can ingest anything and you can monetize it. So you can get very creative with how you meter any type of an offering. So whether it's IoT data or telecommunications data or commercial banking data or data about aircraft landing and taking off from an airport, anything that you can collect as data, you can ingest into our system in massive volumes and rate and bill. So this is our mediation layer. So mediation just means I'm going to take this raw data and I'm going to turn it into something that you can bill.
Okay.
Right?
Got it.
Other aspects of our billing system, like revenue recognition, come into play when you have much more complex recognitions needs, like a obligation-based revenue recognition, for example. And so what we offer is, again, you have ties back into the entire data model that you can then pull together to write rules to base your revenue recognition on. And then everything else, like customer portal. Customer portal is just really merely the app presented to your customers. It's the same app, but presented to your customers in a way that you feel is both commercially appealing and also gives them access for self-service. They can pay their bill online, but they can also run reports. They can do anything that you feel is appropriate for engaging them in your service.
Got it. Very interesting. And what kind of customers do you focus on? You mentioned already before larger customers. Is that really the main focus?
It really is. And the reason why we're appealing to large enterprise companies is, if you think about it, if you're a company with thousands of employees and thousands of products in your product catalog, and then very highly evolved business processes around monetizing those services, the cost of change is far more than the cost of the billing system that we're offering. So rather than force companies into adapting to our billing methodology, so to speak, we specialize in wrapping our billing system around their processes so that they have a very seamless transition. Because changing a billing system is like signing up for open heart surgery. It's really at the core of your business. It's one of the most mission critical systems in your back office. So so we specialize in wrapping our system around your business process. So there's a seamless migration over to a new billing system that then is, because it can adapt to your existing business processes, can very easily adapt to anything new. So it allows you more flexibility, more agility, more opportunities to offer different services and pricing models to your customer.
But are you focusing on any specific industries here? Software industry, SaaS, financial service, something like this, certain customer sizes? And I guess the focus is on North America at this point.
Well, no, it's not really focused on North America. We've got customers all over the world. And that's just by virtue of the SaaS delivery model. You can sign up for our service anywhere you are on the planet. We have data centers in different parts of the globe as well. But really, our customers vary tremendously across the board, from airports, which have a highly complex method for monetizing their services. You learn about this when you get into the field. It's pretty interesting. To very large banks, to, I won't mention names, to software as a service companies, to infrastructure providers, to janitorial companies that offer janitorial services to huge organizations like Apple and big campuses and stuff like that. So it really is a testament to our flexibility, the variety of customers that we support.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, right? So it's so many different industries. So the main message here, it should be larger customers and they could have complex billing needs so that you can help them.
Typically, that's the value add is the fact that we can handle their complexity, for better or for worse for us. We tend to get the tough cases,
Excellent. You have tell us a little bit more about the company itself. How many employees do you have and where are they located?
Well, we're constantly hiring, and we have currently, and this number changes all the time because we're constantly hiring, but currently around 130 employees today, mostly in North America, but then in other places of the globe. We have Europe, we have Asia Pacific and Australia. We have an office there. We have the Philippines as well.
Excellent. And how easy or difficult is it these days to find people for your CPQ solutions?
It hasn't been that hard. We've had people come from other CPQ companies to join our sales team. So we've got a lot of CPQ knowledge in-house before we decided to roll out CPQ. So it hasn't been that difficult. I've got a CPQ background from a previous life as well. So it actually is a really challenging business area.
Fully agree. It's not straightforward, that's for sure. Anyway, let me ask you a question about your solution architecture. On your website, you say it's a modern cloud-based architecture. What makes it modern and why should customers care about that?
Oh, okay. Well, this is good. So one of the primary areas where we benefit the customer, and again, the enterprise customer, is in the ability to be adaptable. Now, it benefits us as well, but this is primarily fueled by our metadata architecture. So we made a decision out of the gate to be 100% configurable. So, for example, if I gave you BillingPlatform today, and you decided you had a creative idea. Let's say, oh man, I want to support my internal operations teams, and I want to give them a trouble ticketing system. You could build that trouble ticketing system in our application with full automation, user interface, even web service integration capabilities with point and click in about an hour and a half. I actually have a demo on that. But that's the primary aspect of this billing system that makes it unique and also very modern.
Novo CPQ Consulting helps you with all CPQ related questions. For example, we help customers to find the best CPQ solution for their business, and we help customers analyze their current business process to determine if and where CPQ can help. Here it's important to point out that we are 100% independent and always look out for our customers first. This means for us also that we don't get paid by any CPQ vendor for providing them new customers or for any other services. We are focused on our customers and always provide the best available information to them. We also help system integrators to improve their services, and we offer the only CPQ industry subscription that provides monthly CPQ news and trends. We have many other services, so check it out today at novocpq.com. Send me an email to frank.sohn@novocpq.com to learn how we can help you with your CPQ questions, and keep us in mind when you look for 100% impartial CPQ advice. And how do you integrate with various front-end and back-end systems like CRM systems like Salesforce or back-end systems like SAP? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so integrating with us is very easy in the sense that you have access to every single data element in the system. So for business information systems, integration means sharing data from one system to the other. And so we do that very well, because we offer our web services as sort of a web-enabled database, if you will. So you have the complete access and transparency into all of the data in the system, so you can integrate with anything. And that's important because the information exchange can vary tremendously from industry to industry, customer to customer, system to system. So for example, our Salesforce integration is much like an ETL style integration, wherein you would go into our app and configure directly field mappings between objects in Salesforce and BillingPlatform through a handy UI. Why is that enabled? Because Salesforce also has a metadata model where you can very easily go in and say, hey, I'd like to see all of the objects I can integrate with. And then for this object, I'd like to see all of the fields. And then I'd like to update data from BillingPlatform to Salesforce, or I'd like to do it the other direction. And then I'd like to sequence all of these. So integrations with BillingPlatform is usually pretty seamless. Now, where you might get into some trouble are the older architectures that don't have such a robust interface. And for those, we have specific integrations. So for like NetSuite or the various gateways that we integrate with, or tax providers, that kind of thing.
Yeah, got it. Then one thing I was wondering also, because I remember at one point, I think you had Pros as a partner on the CPQ side, right? So and I was wondering, the CPQ solution that you have right now, is that a CPQ solution that should be sufficient all by itself? Or you still have a partnership with Pros or any other CPQ vendor where you would basically tell your customers, hey, you start with us on the CPQ side, but if for whatever reason you outgrow our solution, then we give you a pathway basically to the next solution. Is that still something you do, or?
Well, you're poking my ego here now. Outgrow our solution. How could that be even possible, right? So really, we build our solution to stand alone. It's tightly bundled with our billing offering, but you can surface it in Salesforce, for example. So you can very seamlessly go manage an opportunity in Salesforce and then say, hey, I'd like to create a quote. And we override this functionality with our own CPQ user interface. and it can interact with Salesforce over APIs. You also can interact with our CPQ system completely over our web services. Our goal, though, is to have a standalone CPQ that you could purchase from us, independent of our other software. We're looking to decouple all of our other features in the very same way.
Okay, got it. And that, I guess, is also a clear no to any partnerships anymore.
Not necessarily. We do support, very seamless integration with Salesforce CPQ, for example. Mm-hmm. This is the way typically the path forward for CRM and sales in general is the 800-pound gorilla in the space, Salesforce. So typically, customers that are on board with us, they already have Salesforce and Salesforce CPQ, and our Salesforce integration makes it really simple to bridge that gap between quote to billing. So you have a very seamless, transition from approving and closing a quote down to getting all of the necessary billing elements provisioned in our system, so that it just starts to bill and rate all by itself.
Okay, got it. But then I want to just poke at this one more time, and forgive me for that, but it's what's your relationship then with pros? Are you partnering still with them or not? We started an engagement with pros, and a lot of times those things take a lot of care and feeding, and they have a lot to do with business opportunities at the time. So we still have a relationship with pros. We're just not doing a lot of it right now. Okay, got it. So then let's focus a little bit more on you than on this one, right? So is every customer who wants to maintain the solution, right? So the maintenance of CPQ solutions is an ongoing task. And I was just wondering, what do you think should customers know when they have to maintain your solution? Do they need programming skills to set up rules and stuff like this? Tell us a little bit more about that, please.
No, that's the beauty of the system itself, is that all of the configurations that make this a fit for you are things that you can manage yourself. And they're not programmer level configurations. This is system analyst type level configurations. So for example, if you have a validation rule on your CPQ and you want to change that validation rule, you don't have to come to us to do that. You can go directly into the CPQ and manage all of those. As soon as you have new product offerings, those are available right away to your CPQ. If you want to manage users who are using the CPQ, turn them on and off, give them different privileges, apply an approval construct to CPQ, you have that capability with point and click.
Excellent. Then tell us a little bit more about a typical CPQ project for you. How long does it take, and how is the project run? Is that remote? Is that all on site? How should I imagine that as a billing platform CPQ customer?
Well, we're learning that as well. So I'll tell you right now, there is no typical with BillingPlatform. Just because of the nature and context of where we fit. So as I mentioned before, we fit well with enterprise and we handle complexity very well. So the scenarios vary quite a bit. So it's hard to say. We've only had CPQ out in the wild for a year now. So there is no real typical in terms of a life cycle. And I'd like to say there's a typical life cycle for BillingPlatform itself, but there really isn't. It can be very quick. It can be a month, and you're up and running with some core billing. Now that has a lot to do with how new your services are. So net new is really easy to implement. Versus, okay, we have an existing system. We're billing 10,000 customers on it, and it's been live for the last 20 years, and now we have to discover all of the, little software add-on programs we have hiding in the dark corners of our IT organization, and we're discovering them throughout the cycle. And so it can be a lengthy process, really kind of depending on what you're working with, lengthy or really quick. you know.
Yeah. So then let's rephrase the question. Instead of a typical length, what was the shortest implementation time for your CPQ solution you have had up to this point?
Yeah, so the shortest is probably about 4 weeks, and that's for existing customers that wanted to leverage the system. So what does that mean? Well, I've already got my product catalog defined. I'm already in motion billing and rating. And now I just want to light up CPQ on top of that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's, so versus going in and having discovery with a client, learning about their products and services, learning about how they bill and rate, learning about all of their CPQ rules, learning about everything you need to understand in order to set the system up from the ground zero, you know?
And then let's look at the features and functions a little bit, right? So when you think about the product and the customers you've sold it to at this point, right? So what are the 3 most popular features and functions that the product offers?
So when you think about CPQ, it stands for configure, price, quote. So we really focus a lot more on the pricing aspect of this than, let's say, configuration. So it's really leveraging a robust pricing model and the ability to have the level of detail with regard to how you price and rate that makes the CPQ really valuable with BillingPlatform, because you're gaining all of the capabilities in our core rating engine in your CPQ.
Got it. And when you look back right now at this year, since you said it is out in the wild for 1 year, so what are the most significant results customers have seen because of your software solution?
Well, of course, there's a big savings if you're bundling your service with BillingPlatform. So you get a significant savings over seat licenses, for example, with a solution like Salesforce, and you also get the same seamless touchpoint integration, because we also support SSO that you get with Salesforce. Your sales team can feel like they're in Salesforce the whole time and have no knowledge that BillingPlatform even exists, right? So those types of advantages are really what it makes the transition very seamless and cost effective.
And how do you implement the solution right now? Are you doing the implementations yourself, or you're partnering with system integrators to do that?
It's a mix of both. Sometimes a system integrator will bring us into a deal. Other times we have our own professional services organization that are responsible for setting up the customer. It really depends on the engagement. Some customers prefer a specific SI, Yeah. Sometimes, as I mentioned before, we're brought into the deal by an SI. So,
and that brings up one thing which is interesting for CPQ vendors at this point in time, right? As finding system integration partners. How easy or difficult is that from your point of view, especially for the CPQ part?
It's like pushing a peanut with your nose all the way from Fort Collins to Los Angeles. It's very difficult. Right? Managing and building relationships out of the box, because really what it kind of hinges on is opportunities. You have to have a great mutual opportunity for either party to have any interest, so proactive integration is difficult until you reach critical mass. And as I mentioned before, we're really only 1 year out with this.
Excellent. And your comparison with the peanut, that made my day. So that's really good. So anyway, I know you cannot share much here. I asked you the question anyway, right? So is there anything in the next 12 months that interested customers should look out for that would come out of BillingPlatform? Anything you can announce at this point in time?
Yeah, so we're looking for deeper integration with workflow and deeper product support for some of the more complex rating methods that we have. We're also looking at more estimation and analytics features built into the front end of the CPQ process to give you information like, predictable metrics. Hey, if you provision them for this is what your given usage is variable, right? this is what this deal is going to look like over time, or this is what your annual contract value might look like with this extended solution that you're quoting. We also have looked into artificial intelligence to help with upsell, cross-sell, suggestions, sales coaching, stuff like that.
Excellent. So lots of interesting things coming up. The pipeline makes sense to follow you. What's a good way for interested listeners to contact you in case they have any questions or follow-ups for you or your team?
Well, it's simple. contact@billingplatform.com. And you can also go on the site if you can't remember that. On our site, you'll have access to fill out a contact form, and we are more than happy to hear from you.
Excellent. We will have all this information in the show notes. As always, thank you very much, Nathan, for making time for the CPQ podcast today.
All right. Thank you, Frank. My pleasure.
I'd like to thank everyone for listening and hope you learned something interesting today. If you like the podcast, please go ahead and rate it on iTunes or share it with your friends and colleagues. In the meantime, you can find us online at www.novocpq.com. So long, everyone.